running out of time.
We are running out of time. We are running out of time.
We're running out of time.
We are running out of time.
Are running out of time.
Why can't I be more like them? Why don't I have the things that they do? Am I the only unlucky one? I need to catch up. I need to do better. I need to do more. These are the words that ran through my mind during my teenage years. For as long as I could remember, I always had an inferiority complex. Never felt good enough, strong enough, or tall enough. Always thought I lagged behind my friends and everybody else who I compared myself to. It even got worse when I joined social media, because I went from comparing myself to my male classmates to comparing myself to everyone in my age range. To me, it seemed like these people were always better off than I was. I felt like I always lagged behind, like I was always playing catch up, because I never had the latest shoes, the latest phone, or the latest gaming console. Even puberty hit me late. I felt like I only started growing in 11th grade. For a long time, it felt like being a late bloomer would be the bane of my existence. In a world that glorifies early success and rapid achievers, being a late bloomer feels like a curse. But what if I told you it wasn't? You would probably argue and say, how could being a late bloomer be positive? It feels like I'm always late to the party, I always miss opportunities, and things are always harder for me to achieve. And that's actually part of the reason to why it's a good thing. Being a late bloomer is a blessing in disguise. You don't think it is because you're stuck in the mental habit of thinking you need to achieve things quickly. And you end up achieving nothing because you get overwhelmed. But being somebody who catches on later than usual might be the most underrated blessing out there. If anything, it might be your unfair advantage. Let me explain why. Being a late bloomer gives you more time for self-discovery. You don't see it when you're younger, but having the extra time to actually figure out who you really are makes a huge difference in the long run. Because imagine being the guy who hits it off early. Everything plays out well for him. He's got good grades in school, he's friends with everybody, he even goes down a good career path. It seemed like everything was laid out for him, but for you it was the exact opposite. It took a while for you to get good at school, or even make a couple of good friends. You probably thought you were unlucky, but you weren't, because this is where your unfair advantage is. You know what it's like being at the bottom, and getting yourself out of that place took massive resilience and perseverance. That's not something to take lightly. If something bad happened to you today, you'd probably cope better than the person who had it easy. You know what going through adversity feels like. Having bad grades, being bad with girls, or being the weird kid who wears grandpa specs. So you won't feel as much pressure as the person who had it easier of the way. The thing to remember is, our lives are usually dependent on how we react to things that happen to us. And being able to persist at doing something for a long period of time, regardless of the circumstances, isn't a common trait. So as a late bloomer, that's your unfair advantage. Secondly, being a late bloomer brings out the authentic side of you. During my early years as a teen, I always thought there were expectations I had to live up to, like having the latest gadget or the latest pair of Nikes. It always felt like I had to meet certain standards or do certain things to be seen as a cool kid. It was just classic peer pressure, if I'm being honest. But now I'm older, and I'm grateful I never got to do any of that stuff. Because if I went down that path and always did what people expected me to be, I wouldn't be the person I am today. There will always be a certain type of societal pressure that the world wants you to live up to. It could be going down a certain career path or choosing who to settle with, or even deciding when to get married. We late bloomers have it easier navigating our way around these expectations because they're nothing new to us. Even if you decided to go against what most people tell you to do, it wouldn't feel strange because you already know what it feels like being the old one out. Most people who get success early end up getting comfortable, but as a late bloomer, you still have that drive and freedom to actually shape your own path based off your own interests. This trait helps you in other parts of life as well because you're okay being the individual you are, and this goes into the next step. Being a late bloomer helps you develop a high level of adaptability. And this is crucial because you would find it easy to handle dynamic changes in your life far better than somebody who's only used to being in one place. I would have found it a lot harder settling in Russia if I wasn't flexible enough to adapt to the way of life here. Compared to Zambia's climate, Russia is the complete opposite. On top of that, I navigate most of my educational classes as the only black person in the room, which is a terrible situation to be in if you're insecure. It took time, but I adapted to it. I probably wouldn't have if I never went through phases of my life where I had to adapt to various social dynamics, changing environments, and even culture shock. And you get to be appreciative of all those hard times because they build you into the person you become. This actually goes into the last point, which is appreciation for progress. Being the people we are as late bloomers, we all know one thing for sure. Progress doesn't come easy, and because we know this, it makes us appreciate the journey even more. It's easier to foster a sense of gratitude this way because you know how far you've come. And because you're a late bloomer, you've also cultivated a growth mindset. You know progress and success aren't determined by age, but by consistent effort and continuous learning. So you keep going, even when most people stop. And that's what sets you apart. That's your unfair advantage. You can check out everything I have in the description, including the newsletter. I'll have a link to it there. And if you're new here, I suggest you watch this video and leave a donation in the form of a subscribe. I really appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.